Grenoble is a city in southeastern France, at the foot of the French Alps where the river Drac joins the Isère. Located in the Rhône-Alpes region, Grenoble is the capital of the department of Isère. The proximity of the mountains, as well as its size, has led to the city being known in France as the capital of the Alps. Grenoble's history goes back more than 2,000 years, at a time when it was a small Gallic village. While it gained in stature by becoming the capital of the Dauphiné copyright in the 11th century, Grenoble remained for most of its history a modest parliamentary and garrison city on the borders of the Kingdom of France. Grenoble grew in importance through its industrial development, the city having experienced several periods of economic expansion in the last centuries. It started with its booming glove industry in the 18th and 19th centuries, continued with the development of a strong hydropower industry in the late 19th to early 20th centuries and ended with its post-World War II economic boom symbolized by the holding of the Olympic Winter Games in 1968. The city is now a significant scientific center in Europe. The population of the city of Grenoble at the 2008 census was 156,659. The population of the Grenoble metropolitan area at the 2008 census was 664,832. The residents of the city are called Grenoblois. The numerous communes that make up the metropolitan area include the city's largest suburbs, Saint-Martin-de-Retz, Upper-Mille-Quirolles, and Fontaine, each with a population exceeding 20,000. History: for the ecclesiastical history, see Bishopric of Grenoble. Antiquity. The first references to Grenoble date back to 43 BC. Collaro was at that time a little Gallic village founded by the Allobroges tribe near a bridge across the Isère River. With insecurity rising, a strong wall was built around the small town in 286 AD. The Emperor Gratian visited Collaro and, touched by the people's welcome, made the village a Roman city. In honor of this, Collaro was renamed Gratianopolis in 381. Christianity spread to the region during the 4th century, and the Diocese of Grenoble was founded in 377 AD. From that time on, the bishops exercised significant political power over the city and, until the French Revolution, styled themselves the bishops and princes of Grenoble. Middle Ages. After the collapse of the Roman Empire, the city was part of the First Burgundian Kingdom in the 5th century and the Second Burgundian Kingdom of Arles until 1032, when it was integrated into the Holy Roman Empire. Arletian rule was interrupted between 942 and 970 due to Arabic rule based in Fraxianate. Grenoble grew significantly in the 11th century when the Counts of Alban chose the city as the capital of their territories. At the time, their possessions were a patchwork of several territories sprawled across the region. The central position of Grenoble allowed the counts to strengthen their authority. When they later took the title of Dauphins, Grenoble became the capital of the state of Dauphiné copyright. Despite their status, the counts had to share authority over the city with the Bishop of Grenoble. One of the most famous of those was Saint Hugh. Under his rule, the city's bridge was rebuilt, and both a regular hospital and a leper one was built. The inhabitants of Grenoble took advantage of the conflicts between the counts and the bishops and obtained the recognition of a charter of customs that guaranteed their rights. That charter was confirmed by Kings Louis XI in 1447 and Francis I in 1541. In 1336 the last Dauphin Humbert II founded a court of justice, the Conseil Delphinal, Fr., which settled at Grenoble in 1340. He also established the University of Grenoble in 1339. Aging and heirless, Humbert sold his state to France in 1349, on the condition that the heir to the French crown used the title of Dauphin. The first one, the future Charles V, spent 9 months in Grenoble. The city remained the capital of the Dauphiné copyright, henceforth the province of France, and the estates of Dauphiné copyright were created. The only Dauphin who really governed his province was Louis XI, whose reign lasted from 1447 to 1456. It was only under his rule that Dauphiné copyright properly joined the Kingdom of France. The old Conseil Delphinal became a parliament, strengthening the status of Grenoble as a provincial capital. He also ordered the construction of the Palais du Parlement and ensured that the bishop pledged allegiance, thus forging the political union of the city. At that time, Grenoble was a crossroads between Vannes, Geneva, Italy, and Savoy. It was the industrial centre of the Dauphiné copyright and the biggest city of the province. Renaissance. Due to Grenoble's geographical situation, French troops were garrisoned in the city and its region during the Italian Wars. Charles VIII, Louis XII, and Francis I went several times to Grenoble. However, the people had to suffer from the exactions of the soldiers. The nobility of the region took part in various battles and in doing so gained significant prestige. The best known of its members was Bayard, the knight without fear and beyond reproach. Grenoble suffered as a result of the French Wars of Religion. The Dauphiné copyright was indeed an important settlement for Protestants and therefore experienced several conflicts. The Baron des Adrets, the leader of the Huguenots, pillaged the Cathedral of Grenoble and destroyed the tombs of the former Dauphins. In August 1575, Les de Guillerès became the new leader of the Protestants and, thanks to the accession of Igny IV to the throne of France, allied himself with the governor and the lieutenant general of the Dauphiné copyright. But this alliance did not bring an end to the conflicts. Indeed, a Catholic movement, the Ligue, which took Grenoble in December 1590, refused to make peace. After months of assaults, Les de Guillerès defeated the Ligue and took back Grenoble. He became the leader of the entire province. Les de Guillerès became the lieutenant general of the Dauphiné copyright and administered the province from 1591 to 1626. He began the construction of the Bastille in order to protect the city and ordered the construction of new walls, increasing the city's size. He also constructed the Hôtel Les de Guillerès, built new fountains, and dug sewers. From Louis XIV to the French Revolution. The revocation of the Edict of Nantes by Louis XIV caused the departure of 2,000 Protestants from Grenoble, weakening the city's economy. However, it also weakened the glove industry of Grasse, leaving the glove factories of Grenoble without any competition. This allowed a stronger economic development for the city during the 18th century. For example, at the beginning of that century, only 12 glovers made 15,000 dozen gloves each year. However, by 1787, 64 glovers made 160,000 dozen gloves each year. The city gained some notoriety on June 7, 1788 when the townspeople assaulted troops of Louis XVI in the Day of the Tiles. The people attacked the royal troops to prevent an expulsion of the notables of the city, which would have seriously endangered the economic prosperity of Grenoble. Following these events, the Assembly of Ville took place. Its members organized the meeting of the old Estates General, thus beginning the French Revolution. During the Revolution, Grenoble was represented in Paris by two illustrious notables, Jean-Joseph Mounier and Antoine Barnave. In 1790, the Dauphiné copyright was divided into 3 departments, and Grenoble became the chef-lieu of the Isère department. The city was renamed Grenoble and took back its real name only under Napoleon. Only 2 abbeys were executed at Grenoble during the Reign of Terror. Pope Pius VI, prisoner of France, spent 3 days at Grenoble in 1799 before going to Valence where he died. 19th century. The establishment of the empire was overwhelmingly approved. Grenoble welcomed for the second time a prisoner pope in 1809. Pius VII spent 10 days in the city en route to his exile in Fontainebleau. In 1813 Grenoble was under threat from the Austrian army, which invaded Switzerland and Savoy. The well-defended city contained the Austrian attacks, and the French army defeated the Austrians, forcing them to withdraw at Geneva. However, the later invasion of France in 1814 resulted in the capitulation of the troops and the occupation of the city. During his return from the island of Elba in 1815, Napoleon took a road that led him near Grenoble at Lafray. There he met the Royalist 5th Infantry Regiment of Louis XVIII. Napoleon stepped towards the soldiers and said these famous words, "If there is among you a soldier who wants to kill his emperor, here I am." The soldiers all joined his cause. After that, Napoleon was acclaimed at Grenoble and General Jean-Gabriel Marchand could not prevent Napoleon from entering the city through the Bun Gate. He said later, "From Caen to Grenoble, I still was an adventurer. In that last city, I came back a sovereign." But after the defeat of Waterloo, the region suffered from a new invasion of Austrian and Sardinian troops. The 19th century saw significant industrial development of Grenoble. The glove factories reached their golden age, and their products were exported to the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia. General Haig so transformed the Bastille fortress, which took on its present aspect between 1824 and 1848. The Second Empire saw the construction of a railway network, and the first trains arrived at Grenoble in 1858. Shortly thereafter Grenoble experienced widespread destruction by extensive flooding in 1859. In 1869 engineer Aristide Bergès played a major role in industrializing hydroelectricity production. With the development of his paper mills, he accelerated the economic development of the Gras copyrights of Audin Valley and Grenoble. On August 4, 1897, a stone and bronze fountain was inaugurated in Grenoble to commemorate the pre-revolutionary events of June 1788. Built by the sculptor Henri Ding, the Fountain of the Three Orders, which represents three characters, is located on the Place Notre Dame. People in Grenoble interpret these characters as follows: "Is it raining?" inquires the Third Estate. "Please heaven it had rained," lament the clergy. "And it will rain," proclaims the nobility. 20th century, World War I accelerated Grenoble's economic development. In order to sustain the war effort, new hydroelectric industries developed along the various rivers of the region, and several existing companies moved into the armaments industry. Electrochemical factories were also established in the area surrounding Grenoble, initially to produce chemical weapons. This development resulted in significant immigration to Grenoble, particularly from Italian workers who settled in the Saint Laurent neighborhood. The economic development of the city was highlighted by the organization of the International Exhibition of Hydropower and Tourism in 1925, which was visited by more than 1 million people. The organization of this exhibition forced the military to remove the old city walls and allowed expansion of the city to the south. This exhibition also highlighted the city's hydropower industry and the region's tourist attractions. The site of the exhibition became an urban park in 1926, named Parc Paul Mistral after the death of the mayor in 1932. The only building of this exhibition remaining in the park is the Tour Perrot, which has been closed to the public since 1960 due to its very poor state of maintenance. During World War II, at the Battle of the Alps, the Nazi invasion was stopped near Grenoble at Verret by the forces of General Cartier in June 1940. The French forces resisted until the armistice. Grenoble was then part of the French state, before an Italian occupation from 1942 to 1943. The relative mercy of the Italian occupiers towards the Jewish populations resulted in a significant number moving to the region from the German-occupied parts of France. Grenoble was extremely active in the RA copyright resistance against the occupation. Its action was symbolized by figures such as Hugo Nichevant, La Copyright on Martin, and Marie Rend. The University of Grenoble supported the clandestine operations and provided false documentation for young people to prevent them from being assigned to STO. In September 1943, German troops occupied Grenoble, escalating the conflict with the clandestine movements. On November 11, 1943, massive strikes and demonstrations took place in front of the local collaboration offices. In response, the occupiers arrested 400 demonstrators in the streets. On November 13, the resistance blew up the artillery at the Polygon, which was a psychological shock for an enemy who then intensified the repression. On November 25, the occupiers killed 11 members of the RA copyright resistance organizations of Grenoble. This violent crackdown was nicknamed Grenoble's Saint Bartholomew. From these events, Grenoble was styled by the Free French forces the title of capital of the Maquis on the antennas of the BBC. This event only intensified the activities of Grenoble's resistance movements. The Germans could not prevent the destruction of their new arsenal on December 2 at the Bonn Barracks. After the Normandy landing, resistance operations reached their peak, with numerous attacks considerably hampering the activity of German troops. With the landing in Provence, German troops evacuated the city on August 22, 1944. On November 5, 1944, General Charles de Gaulle came to Grenoble and bestowed on the city the Compagnon de la Libre copyright ration in order to recognize a heroic city at the peak of the French resistance and combat for the liberation. In 1955, future physics Nobel Prize laureate Louis Nahr Copyright L created the Grenoble Center for Nuclear Studies, resulting in the birth of the Grenoble model, a combination of research and industry. The first stone was laid in December 1956. In 1968 Grenoble welcomed the XTH Olympic Winter Games. This event helped modernize the city with the development of infrastructure such as an airport, motorways, and a town hall. It also helped develop new ski resorts like Camrousse, Les Deux Alpes, and Villard de Lans. Geography. Grenoble is surrounded by mountains. To the north lies the Chartreuse, to the south and west the Vicours, and to the east the Beldon Range. Grenoble is regarded as the capital of the French Alps. Grenoble is exclusively built on the alluvial plain of the Isère and Drac rivers at an altitude of 214 meters, and as a result the city itself is extremely flat. Mountain sports are an important tourist attraction in summer and winter. 20 large and small ski resorts surround the city, the nearest being Les Sapes-en-Chartreuse, which is about 15 minutes drive away. Historically, both Grenoble and the surrounding areas were sites of mining and heavy industry. Abandoned mills and factories can be found in small towns and villages, and a few have been converted to tourist attractions, such as the coal mine at La Mure. Climate. Population, main sites. La Bastille, the Bastille, an ancient series of fortifications on the mountainside overlooking Grenoble on the northern side is visible from many points in the city. The Bastille is one of Grenoble's most visited tourist attractions and is a good vantage point over the town below and the surrounding mountains. Although the Bastille was begun in the Middle Ages, later years saw extensive additions, including a semi-underground defense network. The Bastille has been credited as the most extensive example of early 18th century fortifications in all of France and then held an important strategic point on the Alpine frontier. The first cable transport system, installed on the Bastille in 1875, was built by the Porte de France Cement Company. This cable transport system connected a quarry on Mount Jallah, just over the Bastille, and Grenoble. It was abandoned in the early 20th century. Since 1934, the Bastille has been the destination of the Grenoble-Bastille cable car. This system of egg-shaped cable cars known to locals as Les Bulles provides the occupants with an excellent view over the Isère River. At the top are 2 restaurants and a small military museum on mountain troops. Palace of the Parliament of Dauphiné copyright. This palace was constructed Place Saint-André, around 1500 and extended in 1539. It was the location of the Parliament of Dauphiné copyright until the French Revolution. It then became a courthouse until 2002. The left wing of the palace was extended in 1897. The building now belongs to the Isère Council. An ongoing renovation project will give this building a new life whilst preserving its patrimonial character and adding a modern touch. Museum of Grenoble, the city's most prized museum, the Museum of Grenoble Musée copyright EDDY Grenoble, welcomes 200,000 visitors a year. The Museum of Grenoble is above all renowned for its collection of paintings that covers all the artistic evolutions. It was the first museum in France that opened its collections to modern artists, at the beginning of the 20th century. Since then its collection of modern and contemporary art has grown to become one of the largest in Europe. The painting holdings include artworks by painters such as Veronese, Rubens, Zurbarah N., Ingres, Delacroix, Renoir, Gauguin, Signac, Monet, Matisse, Picasso, Kandinsky, Joan Mira Cubed, Paul Klee, Giorgio de Chirico and Andy Warhol. The museum also presents Egyptian antiquities as well as Greek and Roman artifacts. The sculpture collection presents works by Auguste Rodin, Matisse, Alberto Giacometti and Alexander Calder. In April 2010, the Prophetess of Antino, a 6th century mummy discovered in 1907 in the Coptic necropolis of Antino in Middle Egypt, returned to the Museum of Grenoble, after more than 50 years of absence. Archaeological Museum of Saint-Laurent. Located in the Place Saint-Laurent, the collections come from the archaeological excavations done on the site and are dated throughout the 3rd century AD. Situated on the right bank of the Isère, Grenoble Archaeological Museum presents the vestiges permitting to carry up the time until the origins of Christianity. The museum is situated under a Benedictine church of the 12th century. Discovered in 1803 by Jacques-Joseph Champollion Figuique, brother of the Egyptologist Jean-François Section Champollion, the Roman church is one of the first monuments classified in France thanks to the intervention of Prosper Mar Copyright Rema Copyright E, Historic Monument Inspector. Since 1978, a systematic excavation has led Loud in the setting of a regional research program on the evolution of the churches during the Middle Ages. After 8 years of work, the museum opened May 6, 2011. Education and science, secondary level. The large community of both foreign students and foreign researchers prompted the creation of an international school. The Cité Copyright Scolaire Internationale Europol was formerly housed within the L'École Copyright Stendhal across from the Maison du Tourisme, but later moved to its own building in the Europolia, FR, district. In the center of the city, 2 schools have provided education to the Isère Copyright Rouen for more than 3 centuries. The oldest one, the L'École Copyright Stendhal, was founded in 1651 as a Jesuit college. In 1673 an astronomical and astrological sundial was created in the main building of the college, called Horloge Solaire, which still can be visited today. The second oldest higher education establishment of Grenoble is the L'École Copyright Champollion, completed in 1887 to offer an excellent education to both high school students and students of classes pra-copyright bratoise. Higher education. In a 1339 pontifical bull, Pope Benedict XII commissioned the establishment of the University of Grenoble. In 1968, the university relocated to a main campus outside of the city in Saint-Martin-de-Retz. However, smaller campuses remain downtown and in the northwestern part of the city known as the Polygon Scientifique. The university consists of 4 separate institutions sharing the campus grounds, some buildings and laboratories, and even part of their administration: Grenoble IA Euro Joseph Fourier University, Grenoble II Euro Pierre Mendès France University, which includes the Institute of Political Studies. Grenoble III Euro Stendhal University, Grenoble Institute of Technology is a federation of engineering colleges. Campuses of the École Nationale de l'Aviation Civile, École d'Architecture de Grenoble and Grenoble École de Management are also located in Grenoble. The city is now an important university center with over 60,000 students, of which 16% arrive from abroad. Science and engineering. Grenoble is also a major scientific center, especially in the fields of physics, computer science, and applied mathematics. Joseph Fourier University is one of the leading French scientific universities, while the Grenoble Institute of Technology trains more than 5,000 engineers every year in key technology disciplines. Grenoble's high-tech expertise is organized mainly around 3 domains: information technology, biotechnologies and new technologies of energy. Many fundamental and applied scientific research laboratories are conjointly managed by Joseph Fourier University, Grenoble Institute of Technology, and the French National Centre for Scientific Research. Numerous other scientific laboratories are managed independently or in collaboration with the CNRS and the French National Institute for Research in Computer Science and Control. Other research centres in or near Grenoble include the European Synchrotron Radiation Facility, the Institut Loic Liatard, the European Molecular Biology Laboratory, and one of the Commissariat de la Perméologie Atomique, CEA, main research facilities. LITI and the recent development of MINITC, a centre for innovation in micro and nanotechnology, only increases Grenoble's position as a European scientific centre. The city benefits from the highest concentration of strategic jobs in France after Paris, with 14% of the employments, 35,186 jobs, 45% of which specialized in design and research. Grenoble is also the largest research center in France after Paris with 22,800 jobs. In order to foster this technological cluster, university institutions and research organizations united to create the giant innovation campus with the aim at becoming one of the world's top campuses in research, higher education, and high-tech. Grenoble is also renowned for the excellence of its academic research in humanities and political sciences. Its universities, alongside public scientific institutions, host some of the largest research centers in France. Knowledge and Innovation Community, Grenoble is one of the co-location centers of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology's Knowledge and Innovation Communities for Sustainable Energy. Economy, Grenoble is one of the leading European cities in terms of high-tech industries, especially biotechnology and nanotechnology. World-renowned enterprises have settled in Grenoble and in the surrounding areas such as Hewlett-Packard, Caterpillar, and ST Microelectronics. Since 1993, Grenoble can be considered as an international city thanks to the World Trade Center of Grenoble. Industry, the town was famous for glove manufacturing, for which Xavier Jolovina, Fr., introduced an innovative technique in the 19th century. A few small companies keep producing gloves for a very high-end market. Companies. In 2011, the largest employers in the Grenoble metropolitan area were. The presence of companies such as HP or Caterpillar in the area has drawn many American and British workers to Grenoble, especially in the surrounding mountain villages. The region has the second largest English-speaking community in France, after Paris. That community has an English-speaking church and supports the international school. Publisher GLA Copyright.net has its head office in Grenoble. Sport, Grenoble hosted the 1968 Winter Olympics. The city is famous for many nearby ski resorts nestled in the surrounding mountains. Stade Les Guérets is located in Grenoble and has been the venue for international rugby league and rugby union games. Grenoble is the home of a rugby union team, FCA Grenoble, a football team, Grenoble Foot 38, and an ice hockey team, Braleurs de Loups. 6 Days of Grenoble, a 6-day track cycling race since 1971. The Via Ferrata Grenoble is a climbing route located on the hill of the Bastille in Grenoble. The abundance of natural sites around Grenoble as well as the particular influence of mountaineering practices and history make many Grenoble inhabitants very fond of sports and outdoor activities. The Tour de France cycling race regularly passes through the city. Transport. Grenoble can be accessed by air from Grenoble-Isère Airport, Lyon-Saint-Exupéry Copyright-Hawaii Airport and Geneva International Airport. Within Grenoble, a comprehensive bus and tram service operates 26 bus routes and 5 tram lines and serves much of Greater Grenoble. Being essentially flat, Grenoble is a bicycle-friendly city. The Gare de Grenoble is served by the TGV rail network, with frequent high-speed services to and from Paris Gare de Lyon, often with a stop at Lyon-Saint-Exupéry Copyright-Hawaii Airport. Though Grenoble is not directly on any high-speed line, TGVs can run on the classic network and enable such connections. Less frequent high-speed trains run to and from other destinations in France, such as Lille Europe and Nantes. Local rail services connect Grenoble with Lyon, and less frequently to Geneva and to destinations to the west and south. Valence and Lyon to the west provides connections with TGV services along the Rhône Valley. Rail and road connections to the south are less well developed. Highways link Grenoble to the other major cities in the area including the A48 autoroute to the northwest toward Lyon, the A49 to the southwest toward the Rhône Valley via Valence, the A41 to the northeast toward Chambord Copyright-Hawaii, the Alps, and Italy and Switzerland. A partial ring road around the south of the city, the Rocade Sud, connects the motorway arriving from the northwest with that arriving from the northeast. A project to complete the ring road with a tunnel under the Bastille as part of the likely routes was rejected after its environmental impact studies. Culture. Grenoble hosts several festivals, the Grenoble Jazz Festival in March, the Open Air Short Film Festival in early July, and the Cabaret Frappa Copyright Music Festival at the end of July. The Summum is the biggest concert hall in Grenoble, and the most famous artists produce there. Another big hall, Le Grand Angle, is located nearby in Voiron. Smaller halls in the city include the Salle Olivier Messiaen. The main cultural center of the city is called MC2, which hosts music, theater, and dance performances. There are several theaters in Grenoble, the main one being Grenoble Municipal Theatre. Others are the Centre de Copyright the Centre Pra Copyright Mall, and the Centre 145. Grenoble also hosts upstage productions, which performs once a year through an exclusively English-speaking troupe. There are two main art centres in Grenoble, the Centre National de Contemporain and the Centre de Bastille. Grenoble is known for its walnuts, Noix de Grenoble, FR, which enjoy an appellation of controlled origin. The town also hosts an important comics publisher, GLA Copyright Nat. People from Grenoble. International relations. After World War I, one street in the center of Smederevska Palanka was named French Street and one street in Grenoble was named Palanka Street, Rue de Palanka. There is also a Belgrade Street near the Isère River. Twin towns and sister cities, Grenoble is twinned with, in popular culture, in the BBC sitcom Only Fools and Horses, Derek Delboy Trotter refers to Grenoble when he tries to speak French, Gallery. See also, Arboretum Robert Ruffier Lanch, Bishopric of Grenoble, Couvent des Minimes de Grenoble, Grand Place, List of Mayors of Grenoble, Route Napola Copyright on, Saint Roch Cemetery, References, INSEE Commune File. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain, a Herbermann, Charles, ed. Grenoble. Catholic Encyclopedia. Robert Appleton Company A. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain, a Chisholm, Hugh, ed. Encyclopædia Britannica. Cambridge University Press. Notes. Further reading, published in the 19th century, Grenoble, A Handbook for Travellers in France, London, John Murray, 1861. Published in the 20th century, Grenoble, The Encyclopædia Britannica, New York, Encyclopædia Britannica, 1910, OCLCA 14782424. Grenoble, Southern France, including Corsica, Leipzig, Baedeker, 1914. External links, Grenoble Travel Guide from Wiki Voyage, Grenoble Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Grenoble City website, Official Tourism Office of Grenoble at the Wayback Machine, Semitag Euro Transports de la Loma Copyright Ration Grenoblois, Comptable Grenoble Le Site Spa Copyright Sialisa. Copyright pour la Loma Copyright Ration Grenoblois, Remembering Grenoble Photography Exposition and, Touched by the People's Welcome, made the village a Roman city. In honor of this, Calaro was renamed Gratianopolis in 381. Christianity spread to the region during the 4th century, and the Diocese of Grenoble was founded in 377 AD. From that time on, the bishops exercised significant political power over the city and, until the French Revolution, styled themselves the bishops and princes of Grenoble. Middle Ages. After the collapse of the Roman Empire, the city was part of the First Burgundian Kingdom in the 5th century and the Second Burgundian Kingdom of Arles until 1032, when it was integrated into the Holy Roman Empire. Arles-en-Route. Grenoble is a city in southeastern France, at the foot of the French Alps where the river Drac joins the Isère. Located in the Rhône-Alpes region, Grenoble is the capital of the department of Isère. The proximity of the mountains, as well as its size, has led to the city being known in France as the capital of the Alps. Grenoble's history goes back more than 2,000 years, at a time when it was a small Gallic village. While it gained in stature by becoming the capital of the Dauphiné copyright in the 11th century, Grenoble remained for most of its history a modest parliamentary and garrison city on the borders of the Kingdom of France. Grenoble grew in importance through its industrial development, the city having experienced several periods of economic expansion in the last centuries. It started with its booming glove industry in the 18th and 19th centuries, continued with the development of a strong hydropower industry in the late 19th to early 20th centuries and ended with its post-World War II economic boom symbolized by the holding of the ZA Olympic Winter Games in 1968. The city is now a significant scientific center in Europe. The population of the city of Grenoble at the 2008 census was 156,659. The population of the Grenoble metropolitan area at the 2008 census was 664,832. Rule was interrupted between 942 and 970 due to Arabic rule based in Fraxinate. Grenoble grew significantly in the 11th century when the Counts of Alban chose the city as the capital of their territories. At the time, their possessions were a patchwork of several territories sprawled across the region. The central position of Grenoble allowed the counts to strengthen their authority. When they later took the title of Dauphins, Grenoble became the capital of the state of Dauphiné copyright. Despite their status, the counts had to share authority over the city with the Bishop of Grenoble. One of the most famous of those was Saint Hugh. Under his rule, the city's bridge was the residents of the city are called Grenoble-Lois. The numerous communes that make up the metropolitan area include the city's largest suburbs, Saint-Martin-de-Retz, Upper-Mille-Quirolles, and Fontaine, each with a population exceeding 20,000. History. For the ecclesiastical history, see Bishopric of Grenoble. Antiquity. The first references to Grenoble date back to 43 BC. Collaro was at that time a little Gallic village founded by the Allobroges tribe near a bridge across the Isère River. With insecurity rising, a strong wall was built around the small town in 286 AD. The Emperor Gratian visited Collaro and,